The thundering music filled the nightclub, Empire, a place where the rich, the drunk, and the dangerous blended into one chaotic current. Red lights flickered in rhythm with the bass, cigarette smoke hung thick in the air, and every table was crowded with loud groups. And in the middle of this chaos worked her, Lyra. To the eye, she was just a waitress. Neat ponytail, crisp white blouse, black apron. She moved between tables with a strange ease, as if dancing, slipping past drunk men and distracted women. But anyone who looked closer would notice something unusual. Her steps were too precise, her turns too deliberate, her eyes far too attentive. She noticed everything, everyone. Lyra knew who sat where, who was dangerous, and who wasn't. Yet, for most, she was nothing more than the girl with the tray. That night, a group entered the club that even the guards feared. 5 men in expensive suits, tattoos crawling from under their sleeves, smirks that reeked of dominance. They were the Kerosene gang, small but cruel, ruling several districts with an iron fist. Wherever they walked, the city bent. The club fell silent when they appeared. Even the DJ lowered the music, but one cold look from their leader forced him to crank the volume back up. People avoided direct eye contact. They sat at the central table. Expensive liquor flowed freely, waiters scrambled to please them. But soon their attention fixed on Lyra. The leader, Boris, the Rock, spotted her immediately. Tall, broad-shouldered, shaved head, eyes of cold steel. He was infamous for never tolerating refusal. "Hey, sweetheart, come here," he barked when Lyra passed with her tray. She stopped, turned calmly, and replied, "What can I get for you?" "A smile first," one of his men sneered. "Then we'll see." Lyra's face didn't change. She only lifted the corners of her lips slightly, just enough to pass as a smile. "Your order?" she asked firmly. "You'll be our order tonight," another thug said, leaning over the table. Their laughter rolled across the club. Lyra tightened her grip on the tray, but not a muscle of her face flinched. "I'm here to serve food and drinks. Nothing else falls under my duties," she answered coldly. Her calm defiance stung them. They were used to obedience and fear. "You're brave," Boris narrowed his eyes. "We'll see just how much." They taunted her more, their actions growing bolder. One grabbed her wrist, another knocked her tray, spilling drinks. The room tensed. No one dared interfere. Even the guards at the doors looked away. Everyone knew. Crossing the Kerosene was suicide. Lyra understood this could spiral at any moment. She wasn't afraid of pain, wasn't afraid of humiliation, but she knew if she gave in, they would never stop. "Let go," she said firmly, staring into the eyes of the man holding her. "And if I don't?" He smirked, squeezing harder. A flicker of something icy crossed her eyes. But before she reacted, Boris rose. His towering figure loomed as he stepped forward, smirking. "Let's see what you hide under that uniform," he growled, tearing at her blouse. The crowd froze. Some turned away, unwilling to watch. The music thundered, but the world had narrowed to this moment. The fabric ripped. Lyra didn't flinch, didn't scream. She stood tall, her gaze locked on Boris, calm, steady, unnerving. And then, under the torn blouse, the spotlight caught a mark on her skin. Not a rose, not a lover's name, not some abstract design. It was a symbol every criminal recognized instantly. The crest of a special forces unit, severe, winged, coated. At first, the room didn't understand. But Boris, who saw it first, went pale. His smirk collapsed, his lips trembled. "That's," he choked, unable to finish. His men fell silent. The room froze. Even the music felt distant. Lyra didn't cover herself, didn't move back. Her cold, steel gaze pierced the gangsters' hearts. "Whose are you?" one of them stammered, realizing this was no ordinary waitress. Boris already knew. That tattoo was no accident. Only members of the elite special forces, or their blood, carried such a mark. She wasn't just a girl. She was untouchable. Fear replaced their arrogance. The audience, who had cowered from the Kerosene, now watched with shock, and even satisfaction. The predators had become prey. Lyra spoke, her voice steady, clear, slicing through the silence. "You have no idea who you just crossed." Boris stumbled a step back, his iron eyes breaking. He knew the mark. He'd seen it on those who dismantled entire criminal clans like trash. She's Colonel Sokolov's daughter, one of the thugs whispered, horror-stricken. The name cracked the air like lightning. Sokolov, a living legend. The colonel who crushed syndicates alone, the man every gangster feared. Lyra's gaze locked on Boris. And you thought to amuse yourselves, with me. His voice shook. We didn't know. Ignorance doesn't absolve you, she answered like a verdict. The crowd sensed the shift. The Karasee's reign of fear crumbled before their eyes. Then came the sound. Heavy, synchronized boots outside. The doors burst open. Men in black stormed in, armor, helmets, weapons gleaming. On their shoulders, the same crest as Lyra's tattoo. Omega. The crowd gasped. Guards vanished like shadows. Group, north, target inside, the commander's voice echoed. Lyra gave a small nod. That was all they needed. On the ground, one of them roared, rifles aimed at the gang. The Karasee froze. Fear chained them. Boris's fists trembled as he tried to mask it. We didn't know who she was, he croaked. It was a mistake. Some mistakes cost too much. Lyra's voice was ice. 2 soldiers slammed the gang down, cuffing their wrists. Their curses and cries drowned under commands and boots. The crowd, once paralyzed by fear, now watched with relief. The untouchables were dragged away like dogs. Boris was forced to his knees, looking up at Lyra. For the first time, his eyes begged. You won't let them. I won't allow or forbid anything. She cut him off. You chose this yourself. She turned to the people in the club. Every eye fixed on her. The same faces that had once looked away now stared with respect. Tonight, you laughed at me, her voice was calm but sharp. Tomorrow, the whole country will laugh at them. It was the final blow. The Karasee were dragged out, their shouts swallowed by the night. Their era was finished. Lyra stood tall in the silence. Her breathing steady, her back straight. She no longer looked like a waitress. She radiated power. Her father's legacy, her own strength. The crowd parted for her as she walked out with the Omega squad. No one spoke, but everyone knew. They had just witnessed history. A new symbol had been born. And as the doors closed behind her, silence lingered. People exchanged glances, realizing they hadn't just seen a fight, they had seen the end of an empire built on fear. For Lyra, this was only the beginning.